Are you looking for the sickest drift action on TV? Well, you found it right here on G4, the home of Formula D. Hello and welcome to G4, your exclusive home for drifting. Now this year, we're gonna bring you the entire Formula D season, from terrorizing the track to my favorite part, the post-race parties. I'm Rossi Morielli, and I'm joined by a panel of experts who know everything there is to know about the upcoming Formula D season. First of all, we've got the Formula D event organizer, Ryan Sage, the man responsible for anything drift in the U.S., Moto Miwa, and of course, the man we cannot forget, the voice of Formula D, Jared Deanda. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
How are we feeling today?
Great.
Awesome.
Are we ready to talk drifting?
Let's do it.
Because I'm ready. All right, but before we get in and look ahead to the 2005 season, let's find out about the sport of drifting.
It's a subjective sport where you use controlled sliding to navigate through turns, but it's judged instead of clocked, so you're judged on style as well as speed and racing line.
And there isn't any actual correct way to drift. Everyone has their own style, and that's what makes it unique. Some people have more angle, or some people have more speed. It's all about basically you're expressing yourself.
It's kind of like the extreme side of motorsports. It's more a show than it is to be racing. You know, you want to be going as fast as you can, but at the same time you want to have the most impact. You want the fans to appreciate what you're doing and show off your skills and your talent.
Drifting to me is a controlled ballet of motorsport. You have a lot of sports out there that are judged or not judged. And motorsport, this is the first time that it's really come about as a judged form of racing. You know, there's a lot of tact to it if you're leading or if you're following. It's aggression but finesse.
It's pushing the maximum limits of your car, sliding sideways, engine at the maximum, at the red line, pretty close. Pretty much using everything that your car is capable of.
You know, it's sliding, having fun, having a good time, making lots of smoke, making lots of noise, getting all wild. That's what drifting is.
All right, Ryan, so let's make it clear to all the people at home, drifting is not drift racing, correct?
That is absolutely correct. There is no racing in drifting. There are no time clocks.
Okay, so if there's no race, then how's there a winner? How's there a loser? How do you know who's doing good, who's doing bad?
Think about it just like you'd think of any subjective sport like skateboarding or ice skating. It's basically a point system that's put together by these judges based on style, execution, entry speed, and a number of different factors, and they're all kind of tallied up, and highest score advances to the next level.
We're trying to maximize the car's capability, both within control and when it's out of control.
Okay.
And the driver's job is to just keep it, predictable and composed.
Drifting, like Ryan said, it's based on 4 characteristics. The judges judge on, entry speed, so you want high excitement. You coming in at 100+ miles per hour. Overall excitement, does he have good angle? On top of that angle, and then overall execution. So you want them to come in fast as heck, go in sideways, smoke and tire, and was it done cleanly? So that's basically it. You got a panel of judges, they're checking it out, they're subjective, and they pick it out, and then that winner advances to the top 16.
What does it take to be a good drifter?
I mean, drifting in its purest form is about car control. It's about keeping the car in control in an out of control slide. Obviously, you have to have the parts to make that happen, so you got to have the car first of all. They're all rear-wheel drive cars. There's no front-wheel drive cars. That's not the true essence of drifting. And then you got to have aftermarket performance products that make the car able to perform the way that it needs to. It needs to be able to have the right suspension, the right motor work, and all these things vary based on the car that you choose. And again, that comes down to personal style, personal preference.
This sport is really catching on. I know it's just come over to the U.S. and it's catching on pretty fast. And it seems to be growing at a pretty accelerated rate of speed. What is it about this sport that makes America want to watch it? Why is it catching on so fast?
I mean, I think in America, it's all about flash. It's about big excitement. That's exactly what drifting is. This is the first time that this kind of audience has really been exposed to something on this level, and obviously, it now going to be on TV is going to be exposed to even a larger level. So you're going to continue to see the popularity grow, and you're seeing a lot of eyeballs on drifting.
Drifting is just top-notch right now. It's being watched by all young kids. young and old, as well as action sports kids too. So it is an action sport and a motorsport all tied together.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, you're doing it right because, I mean, it's blowing up, it's becoming a big deal, and we love it. So we got a lot more drifting coming your way. We got to take a quick break right now. When we return, we're going to check out which driver's going to make some noise in the upcoming season, so stick around. Welcome back to the Formula D Kickoff. I'm Rossi Morielli. Now, guys, let's talk drivers. Now, these guys are absolute maniacs. Let's talk about these drivers. I want to start off with Sam Hubinette, #1 last year, won the Formula D 2004.
I'm definitely aiming for another one, champion for 2005, with Mopar backing me, and I'm really excited to go out there and do a good smoke show and have a good time.
What makes Sam so good?
He's an awesome driver. I mean, his background is ice driving, and that brings a lot of
Ice driving?
Yeah, ice driving, right? Isn't
Ice
that what
racing, yeah.
What is that?
Racing.
Ice racing, ice driving. It's something that he used to do in Sweden, apparently, and he honed his skills back there, and obviously it was really apparent for the 2004 season. So, I mean, he's got a lot of experience, and he had a great team sponsored by the Mopar guys, and they put together a good program for him.
Okay.
He's a test driver for Volvo.
Really?
Yeah, so he's got balls from there.
All right, let's talk about Chris Forsberg.
I almost feel really pressured just because I feel like a lot more people are watching now. Just got to make sure, keep it together and just, do what we came here to do. And, we're just out here to have fun.
Chris Forsberg, I've been hearing a big buzz about him from last year coming into this next season. What do you guys expect from him this season?
Drift Alliance is a union of 4 dudes: J.R. Gittin, Ryan Hampton, Tony Angelo, and Chris Forsberg rounds it up. So those 4 dudes created a union, and they're just followed and all eyes on them. They're really rock and roll, tatted up, sleeved up, got some alternative sponsors like Von Zipper. They're all on Falcon this year, so they're all in the same tire manufacturer, and Falcon's investing a lot of money in them. Chris Forsberg, he made a lot of noise last year. JR put off the most smoke off his tires last year. So Drift Alliance as a union is awesome. Individually, they're even better, but yeah, it's going to be exciting this year.
Okay, now another driver that I keep hearing about, Alex Pfeiffer.
I think I've already proven that I can drive. I think that's why, it's probably why everybody says like I'm the guy to try and beat, but it's not me. They have to beat us themselves.
Alex Pfeiffer, you think he's going to have a good season this year?
He definitely not only is a guy that has brought a lot of the original style and flair of drifting to the table, he's put together a really great ride in the new S2000 that RSR put together. And I mean, he's been dominant the last half of the season and some of the off-season activities, so for sure he will definitely be extremely competitive.
Back in the Hawaii days when he was, a young kid, and he's just set up, tractors, farm equipment for drifting,
Really?
scooters.
So he just lives drifting. He's just in him.
Alex wears flippers, or he calls them slippers, when he drives. Sandals, like Hawaiian sandals. So he's the sliding Hawaiian.
Okay.
He's the guy that rides his door like a rodeo bull. I mean, he's crazy. He's a great guy, and I'm happy he's in a competitive car this year because
Sounds
he
like my type of
deserves it.
guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the kid, Ken Gucci.
I've been drifting for roughly 4 years. I started when I was 13. My father was the one that actually took me to a dry lake, and then he showed me what drifting was all about, and then that's when I first fell in love with drifting.
He's probably the most exciting driver on the circuit just for the pure fact of his age and where he's come from and his whole story, really. I mean, he had some technical difficulties in the season that prevented him from, winning a few of the events, but he always was consistent throughout the season, and he still placed and finished the season very, very high up in the order. So, I mean, driving skill, none better.
The guy probably knew how to drive before he even understood a concept of what a tire is,
Right.
It's just there when you start young enough, and his dad's just as crazy, if not even more crazier. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on to Dai.
I just want to make US drifting like big as much as like NASCAR or something like very mainstream racing.
I don't know, Moto, how do you exactly say his name?
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Daijiro Yoshihara.
Okay, so Dai, he had some good showings last year, right? So what do you guys expect from him this season?
Yeah, he's definitely like one of the more consistent guys coming from Japan. He obviously has spent a lot of time there. He lives there, and he basically commutes to America for our events. So he's already ingrained within the culture. He understands it. You know, he's been a part of it for quite a while, and he ended up being our second place points finisher for the 2004 season.
Now the car is where I need it. I can focus on the course, and that's really important. So having that in your back pocket, going to the first event, it gives us a lot of forward momentum, and hopefully we'll be able to carry it all the way through the season.
Now, now I know last season, Reese Millen, he took the final event. How vicious is Reese in this Pontiac he's driving?
Probably, he's the guy that at any given time could win an event. You know, he's never going to be off. His car is tuned almost as perfect. He's had an entire year to tune that car to where it is now, and so, you know, coming to the 2005 season, if the boys aren't ready, you know, he's going to take them out. At least that's the way I see it.
He's the Kiwi, he's the New Zealander, driving the American car and in the Japanese motorsport, so here's the ultimate paradox. The kids, they want to like him, but they just don't because it's a Japanese motorsport, and here's this guy, and he comes off as having a lot of money, but he's good, so you can't deny, I guess, skill.
Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to be recapping some of the major events in '04. We got more Formula D in a few. Do not touch that remote. Hey, welcome back to Formula D. I'm Rossi Morielli, joined by Ryan Sage, Moto Miwa, and Jared Deanda. Now, earlier, guys, we spoke of Sam, and he's got the big Viper. We talked about Reese and the GTO. What I want to know, is it fair that these guys are sponsored, they're getting these nice cars, and then you get your other guys who basically have these Corollas and they're, you know, low horsepower and have to put their own money into it?
Right. I mean, when it comes down to it, drifting is about the driver's skill. So no, in that essence, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, it's great to have the huge budgets to go out and build the cars the way you want to, but that's also the beauty of drifting, is that you can take a car off the street and with minimal modifications be at somewhat of a competitive level. So really, in essence, you know, you're talking about skill, and when it comes down to skill, you either have it or you don't.
It's often a issue, you know, that results in controversy, but at the same time, it's what keeps, you know, drifting pure. Is that there's no classification between, you know, different powers or different weights. It's a traditional Japanese fighting game, if you would look at it that way.
So you're saying that,
well,
the car with more power doesn't have an advantage?
Well, some venues have advantage for lighter cars. You know, it's not necessarily the power. You are judged for duration of the cornering too.
Right.
So, you know, a larger car would have to slow way down to get around the corner, while a, you know, smaller car could be just all over the place on the guy.
Right, you're going to have so much inertia, of like the Viper example, is going to have so much inertia going into a corner, he's going to have to stop that much faster than a smaller car.
Okay.
You know, and a 200 horsepower, you know, 2,000 and some odd pound Corolla is going to be a lot more nimble than one of these bigger cars, and so they compensate that with power. So it ends up kind of balancing itself out at the end of the day.
So tell me this, with a guy like Sam, he wins 3 out of 4 events. You always hear talk about, you know, the judging's unfair, you know, I mean, after a while with a guy dominant like that, you might think that. Was the judging unfair? What is there to be said about that?
Well, when you talk about fairness of drifting, I mean, being a subjective sport, you're always going to have scrutiny, no matter what. Was it fair? Would the results have changed the 2004 season? I don't think so. Can there be improvements, and are there improvements being made that will make it better and more suitable for the 2005 season? Absolutely, we're doing those things right now. How it was in the past and where its roots came from is really, it was, you know, it's a panel of judges that say, okay, now that you did a good job, you advance. You know, now we're actually taking concrete numbers and putting that down into a format that can actually be viewed on a Jumbotron or on a computer laptop, and it'll be able to be seen by everybody. So that way those guys have to be responsible for the scores they put down there, and it makes it a lot more of a concrete deal.
If I have a rival, I guess it'd probably be Chris. We were from the same town and kind of learned together.
We've been rivals for 5 years.
Forever.
I have a rival, Reese Millen. It seems like, I don't know why, but we always end up pitted against each other for some reason. And he's beat me pretty much every time.
Definitely Reese is a great friend of mine, but he's also my rival, and we both going to be out there trying to win this thing. So that's one of my toughest competitors.
You have a lot of feuds and battles that go on. What kind of feuds do you have at 04?
Of course, 04, first round one, Atlanta, David versus Goliath. I mean, kids were into it. Sammy Hubinette versus Alex Pfeiffer, and that progressed throughout the whole year.
That really set the precedent for the season, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was all about beating Samuel at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that totally set the bar. Everybody's going after Sam, and then round 4, Chris took him out. So, I mean, Chris got deemed the mongoose. He's the Viper killer. So he took him out.
As an event organizer, you're putting this together, man. You're out there promoting, like getting this out there in the people's minds and making them think about it. Do you take these feuds and blow them up like the media does and make it a way bigger deal than it should be just to get people into it and get it behind them?
We don't even really need to do that. I mean, it kind of does it by itself. I mean, we were talking about diversity before. I mean, this is where it really kind of comes into play, and that's the way that we market the events, is we really play on the diversity and the personalities of these individuals. I mean, you got an 18-year-old kid, you got a 30-some-odd-year-old guy driving, you know, a GTO, and there's just so many things going on. These feuds start to develop, and like you're going to start to see the battles between the domestics and the imports. And you know, the fact of the matter is, in our series, an import has not won an event yet, so there's still that kind of feud developing between those two guys.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had, I mean, Reese won our final event, and Sam won the first 3 events. So, you know, Viper and GTO, those are only vehicles that have won an event in 2004.
Which happen to have the most horsepower too.
That's true.
Okay, we're starting to see some patterns here. I don't know. I'm curious. All right, we got to take another break right now. When we return, we're sliding right into the upcoming Formula D season. Who will be the next champion? Find out when we come back.
Don't go anywhere. More fast cars and drift action when we return. What's up? This is Courtney Day, and we're here at Formula D with G4 TV.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait. Just counting every day down, getting ready. It's going to be madness.
All the drivers are really good. It's going to be a matter of who can best tune their car for their driving style.
For me, the person I don't want to see in my tandem round would probably be either Ken Gucci or Dai, because they're just so consistent.
Dai's my favorite.
Yeah, Dai is the best.
Yeah.
The drifters to look out for, I would still keep my eye out on Samuel. I don't know what he's going to get into.
I'm hoping to win again, but I'm not sure. It could be me, Reese, Gush, Dai, or Alex Pfeiffer.
Again, this year, I'd watch out for Sam and probably Reese. He's got that car dialed in so good now.
It's great, I guess, to be looked upon by others as someone to beat. But at the same time, we've got to sustain that level of competition and not let them.
I think I'm going to kick all their asses. That's how I feel about it. You know, you're not going to just walk into my house and claim it home. You know, you want that title, you're going to have to fight for it.
Welcome back to the Formula D preview show. Now, we just heard what some of the drifters are looking forward to. Ryan, you tell us, what should we expect from the next 2005 upcoming season?
I mean, I think the biggest change is that you're not necessarily going to have to go to the track to watch the events. You know, you're going to be able to see them right here on G4.
Right here on G4, you got to love it.
But, I mean, as far as the excitement is concerned, you know, it's going to step up another level. The cars are better, the drivers are better, the competition's more fierce. We have guys coming in from all over the place. I mean, the pudding that's getting put together is going to be amazing, so.
All right, now I know you guys have a lot of good drivers right now that were in this last season, but this 2005 season, I understand there's going to be some, I don't know, new interesting drivers. For instance, Tyson Beckford, supermodel.
We're like the badasses of drifting. We're like the hip-hop of drifting. We're just going to broaden the culture, basically. From my world, I'm going to bring the hot chicks and a bunch of just badass motherfuckers to this damn scene. That's the I'm going to bring to the scene.
I think it's good that drifting is reaching out to those types of individuals and they're getting interested, but if they can't drive, you know, don't bring it. If you can drive, bring it.
Tyson Beckford, yeah, he could look good, kid it out. I'm not going to talk bad about him. He could fight me or something, but that could be our first feud right there. But
there you go.
No.
Feud for 05. Yeah. Jared versus Tyson. Okay, so we've come to the ultimate question, and what we're all looking for here from you guys. Give me some predictions, and we'll start with you, Jared. Was Sam going to take it again? Or are we looking for a new champion in the 2005 Formula D season?
Predictions, 2005 season. Drift Alliance, Chris Forsberg, Tony Angelo, and Daijiro. Daijiro's staying in the same car this year. He knows the car like the back of his hand, and that's it. Everybody else is changing vehicles, so they got to start from scratch and be used to their vehicle.
So you're
and
going
be
with
familiar.
the bad boys.
Bad boys, Drift Alliance, rock
I
and
see
roll.
you got the mohawk going. You're kind of you're the voice. They're your people, right?
They're my peeps.
All right, you can relate. I dig it.
It's a toss-up. There's a lot of new cars, you know, and all the top class drivers, the top tier guys are all in new cars this year. So
do you think all these guys like Sam Humanet and those guys getting in new cars kind of hurts them?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
I don't think it'll hurt them, but you never know.
But you never know. Okay, so you don't want to go out on a limb.
I agree with that. I think Reese has had a year to tune that car, and these guys are just at the start of getting their new cars. I think he's going to be difficult to beat. I think he'll be podium many of the events. If Ken can get his car right, his driving skill is, you know, bar none, probably the best, if not in the top 3 of the guys out there. And then, you know, watch out for guys that are just now getting into competitive cars like Ryan Hampton and Sego, who was one of our judges last year. I think those guys will be somebody to watch out for, too. I think now when we come into a new city, or we come into a city that we've been to before, you're going to have 30 drivers that are going to be just top-notch skill, and it'll create the excitement throughout the entire event. So I think that'll be a really exciting part of it, because there won't ever be a guy out there that looks like he's out of place. They're all going to be really, really strong.
All right, that's all the time we have here on G4 to talk Formula D. Guys, thank you so much for coming around and explaining the ins and outs and giving us an outlook on the upcoming season of Formula D. We really appreciate it. And we're excited about it. You guys excited about it?
Yep.
You guys seem excited. All right, guys, this year's Formula D season is going to be a blast, so make sure you tune in all year to catch Formula D right here on G4, your only spot for drifting. If you have any questions or you just want to talk drifting, hit us up on our website, g4tv.com/Formula D. For Ryan Sage, Moto Miwa, and Jared Deanda, I'm Rossi Morielli. We'll see you soon.
Rivalries.